Berries are not looking too fresh today. Doing pretty well. I think I will go with some mint. Yeah. There you are.
How are you?
Good, man, good.
Nice.
What do you got today?
I mean, I just got a bunch of spinach from Tomato Mountain.
Spinach is out of this world.
That's what I've been hearing. That's what I came for.
Oh, okay, great.
We're definitely ready for smoothies. We got greens for days now.
India, it made me just realize how just all life is yoga. It's not just getting on your mat and jumping around doing some exercises. Because I originally went there for, specifically to do this intensive. It was a 2-month-long intensive. But I ended up tearing my hamstring partway through. The practice was just too vigorous for me to keep at it with that injury. So I kind of let that go. Injuries, oftentimes, like you think it's the worst thing in the world, but oftentimes it's also your best teacher. And I actually started to use yoga then more therapeutically, to just heal my hamstring. Then I started looking more towards like a Iyengar style practice. So you're going to get a lot of precise cueing when you come to my class. I also try to keep it lighthearted, keep you connected to something greater than yourself, to that divine spark within. We're usually led around by our head or by the pelvis, our more animalistic desires. We're either analyzing something or we're just running off of instinct.
So resist any urge to try to follow or complete the thought. Resist any urge to identify or analyze your thoughts.
Yoga meets you exactly where you're at. Whatever you're into, whatever your personality is, there's a style of yoga or a teacher somewhere that will fit your needs. You just kind of have to shop around a little bit. Yoga is not necessarily everybody's path, but it's more like the path to your path. It helps you to find out what it is that you're here to do. Like, why are you in this body, on this planet, at this time? If you had all the time, all the money, all the energy that you required, what would you do? So after you ponder that for a little while, certain answers will keep coming up. And that'll start to give you an idea of what it is, what your purpose is. It's what makes you the happiest, what lights your fire. Also, it's going to help you, prevent yourself from having any injuries, any aches or pains, so that you can do whatever that is better. Because of course, if you're sick, if you're hurt, that's gonna detract from whatever it is you're doing. Music is very similar to yoga in many ways, just because depending on where you are at, what kind of mood you're trying to create, what you need at that time, there's a certain music that can accommodate. And that's kind of the same thing with, your yoga practice. Music also it helps me to tap into that joy. It makes me happy. I remember one of the first albums that actually really blew me away, almost literally, was Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. My dad had this stereo setup, pretty nice setup, and if you ever heard the album, Dark Side of the Moon starts off really quiet with the clock's ticking and ticking and ticking. And so I'm playing it, and I don't hear anything. I'm like, why is it so quiet? So I turn it up really loud, and then I'm like, oh, okay, now I can hear the clock ticking. And finally, when the music kicked in, you could imagine what a blast that was. It scared the life out of me. And I turned everything down real fast. I shut it off. And I was just like, oh my God, making sure I didn't blow the speakers. I thought I might have like broke something. So that was my introduction to Pink Floyd. Started listening to a little bit of hip hop, and I also started getting into like some heavy metal at the same time. And then once I went away to college, I was still listening to some hip hop, but then I started to listen to more kind of jam band, kind of like Grateful Dead and Fish. Being in college, that's pretty prevalent. So I started getting into that, and just that really opened me up to live music. And I love going to see live bands play, and just dance, let loose, have fun. And I started to explore and notice sampling. When I would hear certain samples, that would lead me to go kind of hunt down the sample, and that opened me up to a whole nother world. I started listening to a lot more jazz, a lot of soul, a lot of funk. Middle to late 90s, I probably started my collection. There's a music to fit any mood or to help create any mood, and so that's what I try to do. That's a pretty good smoothie.